Have you written about your sickness?
Not yet. I don't know if I will or not. But certainly, been hard
Yeah.
to wrap my head around. But at least, even like Woody, I know I'm gonna die, so you have a chance to say goodbye or be honored by your friends instead of getting killed in some car wreck, here this afternoon. I wouldn't even be able to say goodbye to my son, but yeah, I think it's hardest just on me and Jackson. But we're doing pretty good, just getting through it.
And you're continuing to perform when you can?
Yeah, and I've played several gigs last week. They turned out pretty good, and with supportive friends. I started my show and I did a couple of songs, and when I felt my breath need a little rest, I just said, hey, I'll let John Inman sing a song, or I'll call up Chris Bruhalis or somebody. And so that might be what goes on during my set tonight. I'm gonna have a kind of a little area set up so I can say I'll do 2 songs and somebody else will do a song. Let me get my strength and we'll do this. And then of course at the end we'll have a big rave up and sing along, and it'll just be so good, It's and in my mind I think I hope I'll see Tulsa again, but you really never know. Almost worked up that Neil Young song, My Last Trip to Tulsa, which is a cool song.
It is a cool song.
But Tulsa's a very special place. I think we've all are figuring that out.
And in this place, as you said more than once, a special place in a special town for you. I think I speak for everyone in here and lots more elsewhere, how we so admire your courage as to how you're handling this, and the fact that you're continuing to push on I'm going to ask you one more question, and I'm going to open it up so friends and family of yours can ask you some questions that perhaps they always wanted to ask you, and get it on for the record. Because this here is a living testimony, and as you probably know, or if you don't, it's going to live here. This is going to be part of the Woody Guthrie archives forever and ever, to have his story, certainly have his music here. Because in the end, as I said to Nora and my wife Cindy and to you, this guy, more than any other artist I've ever worked with in the realm of Woody Guthrie, personified and embodied the spirit and soul of Woody Guthrie, more than anyone I know. And I'm not just saying that because I'm sitting up on stage next to him. But whenever we had that opportunity to look at someone to say, okay, we need Jimmy LaFave to sing this song or to be on this show, it was the guy. You were always there for me. You were always there for Nora. You were always there for Woody. And that, a lot of people can't say that. The one common denominator in all of anything that I've done pertaining to Woody, you seem to happen to be there, just next to me, or backstage, or someplace. So,
yeah, I'm like Woody Allen, that movie Sailing,
He's not quite like that, but all kidding aside, you're part of a bigger story. You're part of a bigger story of not just Woody, but American music. And that whole Red Dirt thing that you are a vital part of, and the fact of Americana music and American roots music. There's a little chapter, there's a few paragraphs that are always going to be reserved for Jimmy LaFave. And for that, we thank you.
Well, thank you.
We really do.
Yeah, it was a beautiful program. We did that for 10 years or more.
It's just so enriching.
Yeah. Ellis Paul and I think Eliza and me we're going to do some kind of Woody tribute in Houston. And they said, well, how should we do this? And I said, I have this idea. We're going to have a narrator. And so I kind of wrote down Woody's words and said, I know the guy, Bob Childers. You know. By then, he was pretty much like me. He was beginning to just need to sit down and talk. And we did, and no one really could understand my concept till it just worked.
You just did it, right, yeah.
We kind of honed it in every now and then, and Nora gave us some tips, and it traveled all over the country, and really, all the performing arts centers and stuff would hide the program, and we're lucky enough just to get it on tape, and even the spontaneous moment at Newport where Pete Seeger just jumps on stage, leaves out the audience. No, they're leaving out the best verse.
Of course.
And then who was it from the Weavers showed up at one show, and they had him up there. Just had so many great spontaneous moments over the 10 years. Jackson Brown, Steve Earle, all these people would sit in on that show, and it's I'm very proud of that show.
Yeah.
Where were the coolest spots in Stillwater?
There's Brixie's Pond where everybody goes skinny dipping out in the woods. That was a cool spot. But back when I lived there was a little Italian restaurant called Bill's Italian. That was kind of the center of Bohemia there, and then of course there was this little club we started called Eskimo Joe's, which now turned into more like a Hard Rock Cafe. But one time it was just a little hippie bar, and Stillwater's that's where they invented the parking meter, so it's got some weird karma. And again, Pente was invented there, Pente. And,
You said you learned about Jimmy LaFave because of his connection to Woody Guthrie.
Yeah.
I learned about Bob Dylan and Woody Guthrie because I learned about Jimmy LaFave.
Wow, there you go.
If I had not discovered Jimmy LaFave and did not care about Jimmy, I probably wouldn't care about him.
Wow. Well said. Well said.
Here in our town.
Thank you.
Mary Jo said she did too.
Can you talk about the farm in Stillwater, or is it what happens if the farm stays at the farm?
Well, there's they just did the celebration out there last week. Red Bull now sponsors a big Bob Childers Gypsy Cafe at the farm, and I just stumbled across a bunch of footage I have of Bob's old trailer and stuff out there before it burnt down, and I'm going to try to get it up online sometime soon. And a lot of footage of me and Bob up here in the Osage territory, Pahuska, Me and Bob would love to hang out up there in the buffalo herd up here, And then in recent years, it was, the settings for the August Osage County, with the Meryl Streep and but, the famous, my Cimarron Manifesto cover has that triangle building, but Pahuska's got to become a little artsy town now. And you could feel the vibe there years ago. Me and Bob said, there's something cool here. It's going to happen here. And sure enough, there's a little prairie store and stuff there. But it's well worth going up and seeing the tall grass prairie.
In conversations that you and I have had, or many of people in this room, will say an expression, and it's the spirit of Woody. Could you articulate what that is?
Wow.
The spirit of Woody.
I don't know, Jim. That's a pretty mind-boggling question. It encompasses so many things, his spirit. But one of the underlining lessons I've learned from Woody, and I think Jim Logston's brought this up before, is I think at the core of what Woody was really against was, and a lot of his message to me was against, fighting against greed, you know, and it kind of permeates a lot of what I get out of Woody's life. And I don't know, you know, he's just so mystical in so many ways that, and I think that's the direction he was going at the end of his life, into more of a mysticism. At least that's what I think. You know, I don't know. I'm still discovering things every day.
Jimmy, I just want to say that I want to thank you for taking music in some ways off of a big stage or pedestal and making sure that the message is very clear that music is for everybody, for all the people who play, and feel confident about you saying your own message and your own voice, and making that part of what you share with young musicians and with everybody.
Yeah, I think that's something I learned from Pete Seeger too, because, you know, I even used that quote when we were at the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, when Nora graciously invited me to be part of that. And somehow me and Pete Seeger and Paul Metz ended up in the back of a cab, and he said, you know, my father said, we do not judge the musicality of a nation by its virtuosos, like, you know, but by the ability to the common man all to sing together and make music together. And I think Pete really embodied that, always making sure everybody sang together.
You told us the other day, the very first songs that you ever played, ever learned were on that guitar that hangs just in the other room, just around the corner. What were those songs?
Oh, like the Texas Road song I was talking about earlier, and then I started just playing, you know, all your standard, you know, Fire and Rain and James Taylor and Clouds by Joni Mitchell, and you know, and then just your basic Bob Dylan and Woody songs, and so that's kind of what first started on that guitar.
As incredible as you are, covering the songs of others, and inhabiting those songs, part of the canon, and then making them yours and then ours. Could you talk a little bit about treating songs from other people, and maybe cite some of those great covers that you love from others?
Wow, that's multi.
How do you make a song written by someone else yours?
Well, the easiest ones, like Dylan or Woody, you never have to even change a word. They just, I feel like I could have written that. And then, so every now and then there'll be a song I really like a contemporary artist, with the third verse I just leave it out and go back to, go back around. Because it's gotta really, I gotta feel it, or I don't wanna sing it, sometimes. It could even get down to somewhere there's a song where it's, this guy, third verse is beautiful, what he's talking about. And now I'm here, smoking my cigarette, drinking my cup of coffee, and I think, well, I don't really smoke or drink coffee. I don't really want to sing that. I don't know that vibe. It can get real picky with doing stuff like that. But there's people that cover. One of my favorite covers the last couple of years was Sarah Jarosz doing "Ring Them Bells" by Dylan. I thought that was just one of those exquisite covers of a Dylan song. Just took my breath away. But,
what's your favorite of the covers that you do?
I'm kind of like "You're Gonna Make Me Lonesome When You Go" is one of my favorites to do by Dylan, but also "Just Like a Woman" and "Love Minus Zero, No Limits."
Mm-hmm.
Always been a favorite. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
What would you like to be known for? What would you like your legacy to be?
Well, I'd like it to be similar to Woody, that, you know, I never lost touch with the common people I love. You know, there's stories like when Woody walked out of the Rainbow Room and all the things Woody said, I learned to be such a rebel from him. Like, just the things that integrity he had for certain, you know. And then I realized all the flaws of a man like Woody too, you know. But it makes me even love him more, you know. So I think it's just, you know, I guess that old saying, don't get above your raisin, you know. I kind of like just being where I'm at, you know, obscurely famous or whatever you call it. But yeah, and I just, you know, and that's the thing about dying. I've actually reached out to several friends and been able to make amends and say, you know, we don't need to hold grudges for anymore. You know, it's nice just to be at peace with everyone and being able to say, look, I may have hurt you, done it, never even known. You thought I blew you off or treated you badly or you know, skipped you in a song circle accidentally or something. You thought I didn't like you. I just want to make people sure that I just have no agenda, and I'm just in a very peaceful place just to, in my life, making some music and my photography I've been getting into a lot. And you know, that's it. You know, just carry on, you know.
Well, I think I speak for everyone here, all of us here, to say thank you for enriching our lives with your music and who you are and what you've stood for throughout your entire life. You've been an inspiration to a lot of people, a lot more than you know, and the appreciation that we've had for your music and for sticking to what you believed in and the music and the manner by which you did it, as you just said. You are not obscurely famous with us. You're just plain famous.
Well, you know, I feel a little bit like the Lou Gehrig, like I feel like the luckiest, you know, man in the world.
Well, we appreciate everything, Jimmy, and we love you very much. Jimmy LaFave, everyone. Thank you all for coming. We'll see you tonight at the show, right? See you then. Can't wait. Thank you.
All right.